What's going on, everybody? This is Rich from Gaming on a Budget, the channel that reviews free or cheap games with the hopes of recommending you some dope shit. So today's game review is going to be on Paladins. I want to give a big shout out to my boy tatsie or tatsie. They asked me to review Paladins in a comment for the Vigor review that I did. I low-key been eyeing this game for a bit, but forgot about it. So thanks, man, for recommending it and reminding me about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the facts. So the genre of the game is a first-person hero shooter developed by Evil Mojo Games, published by HighlightsFinal Studios. They actually did Rogue Company, which is a game that I reviewed a while ago. Released back in May 2018, created on the Unreal Engine 3. Platforms you can play this on currently is Windows, PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. And is it cross-platform compatible? Yes, it is. So let's go ahead and talk about the story for the game. So Paladins takes place in a sci-fi fantasy world known as Realm. The game is literally a mix of science fiction and fantasy because some of the characters look like they're from the medieval times, but are walking around with like shotguns and shit. In the game, there's a battle between two major factions over the use of magic. The Magistrate, who wants control over magic so no one can use it but themselves, and then the Resistance, who believes that magic should be used by everyone for the use of good. Champions were chosen to fight on both sides and are considered special forces. There are also other factions like the Abyss and the Darkness that don't side with either the Magistrate or the Resistance, but do their own thing. Whether you're with the Magistrate or the Resistance, or you're just on your own, is up to you and your team of champions in the war of magic in Paladins. So I've been playing this game for a little bit, felt like I got enough to give you guys a decent review, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So the first point, visuals. This game is pretty decent. The game has this cartoon feel to it, but it also has like this sleekness. You can see this mostly in the stages you play on and in the environment. I definitely get that medieval feel for the game. You also see this in the champions themselves. They got some pretty interesting looks, pretty diverse looks as well. I would say in a nutshell, the visuals in the game are pretty good. Leaning a little bit more towards that cartoon style, but it works. It works for this game. So my next point, the champions. So before playing this game, my impression was like, okay, Paladins is like the free version of Overwatch. Especially since the idea of champions. In the game, there's all kinds of different champions with different playing styles and abilities, but the main classes are as follows. So you have your frontline characters, which are basically regarded as the first ones in a fight and the last ones out. You can think of them as like tanks, basically defending with shields, and they can take more damage. Then you have your damage players, which, as you guessed, are meant to deal a bunch of damage. Next is your support characters that not only are responsible for healing the team, but also can limit the enemy's abilities as far as their mobility and their combat. Finally, you have the flank class, which operates by, basically trying to get behind the enemy and surprising them and taking them out. The champion I started off with was Lex because, well, you know why. And I was using him more as a damage character. It worked out fine sometimes, but in other times it didn't. There are only a handful of champions you can play with initially, and you have to buy the rest, which is typical. But at least in the game, you get to try out all the champions. So if you're interested in a champion that you need to unlock, you can actually try them out in training to see if it's the right fit for you before you spend that money or, spend whatever to unlock them. So I thought this was pretty cool that you at least got to try it beforehand. Okay, so my next point, the mechanics. So there's a lot to talk about mechanics-wise in this game, so I'm going to do my best to break it down, but let's start off with shooting. So shooting in this game is pretty simple. You just literally have a crosshair on the screen and you just shoot. I say it like this because not everyone has a gun in the game. Some people use magic, so the mechanics would not be the same for a champion that uses a gun. I kind of need to get used to this, especially since the gun characters were the ones I like to use. For instance, Victor has an iron sight, but Lex doesn't because he shoots with pistols. So shooting in this game is a little different for me, but it's simple. Let's talk about the game modes. So in Paladins, there are 3 main game modes that are all 5v5. Team Deathmatch, where you basically just have to kill everyone. First to 40 wins. Then there's Onslaught, which is where you have to battle your way to the objective and hold it to get points. Finally, there's Siege, where after taking control of the objective, you have to push the payload to the enemy territory to score. There's also ranked, but you need to reach a certain level before you can unlock the ranked matches. So let's talk about the cards. So just like in any other game where you're able to control like a weapon loadout, Paladin allows you to do this as well using cards. So cards let you power your champion's attributes and change their skills for a specific playstyle. Each champion has unique cards to their skills. You start off with pre-made loadouts, but you're able to build your own using up to 5 cards, and you need to rank them. There are also talents, which are special cards that you can select for your champion. You start off with at least 1, but you get to choose from 3 after you unlock all of them through leveling up. I'm not gonna lie, this part of the game was a bit annoying. Like customization of your player and playstyle, I'm all for that, but I found the card system to be super confusing, especially since the game doesn't really provide like a nice tutorial on like, you know, building a loadout or telling you about like, you know, your talents. I suggest spending some time in training to figure this out. There are also videos on Paladin's website that explain all this stuff in great detail that I think would be super beneficial for anyone starting out this game. So let's talk about the highlights. I would probably say my biggest highlight for this game is actually just playing the game. Team Deathmatch is my favorite game mode. To be honest, all I cared about was just shooting motherfuckers up. Like, for real. All that support shit's cool and all that, but literally just put a gun in my hand and just get the fuck out the way. Like, that's just the kind of player I am. But I do respect the fact that the game literally is built on teamwork and everyone has a role. You know, your support characters, you know, support the team. You have your flank characters who are meant to, you know, get it from behind. Pause. I don't know why I said that, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I respect that each game, you know, each character has their role in the game. The game just looks pretty good. I like the graphic style for the game. Final thoughts. Paladins was okay to me. It might be because of the games I've played recently, but you know, when I play a shooter, I want to play a shooter. That means like, you know, aiming with the scope, even if it's through iron sights, and I want all the mechanics that go with it. Don't get me wrong, this game can be fun, but it's just not my kind of shooter game. However, I definitely would play this game casually with some friends and just kind of messing around. At the end of the day, it's a free game, and I mean, the shit's good enough now that it's an esport, so that says something. I say if you're into Overwatch or games like that, you definitely might want to check out Paladins. Maybe I just need to play more, but as of right now, I just find it to just be like, okay. Anyway, as always, I want to know what you guys think. So are you playing Paladins right now? Have you tried it, or you know, is it something you're considering? If so, what's your main champion? Who are you playing with? Like I said, I'm pretty fond of Lex and Victor particularly. But yeah, tell me about the champion you're using. What do you think about that card system? Am I the only one that thinks that's a little like confusing? I mean, I don't know. Probably just need to spend some time on it. But anyway, let me know all that in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and drop a like. And if you're new here, please feel free to subscribe. Videos on a weekly basis with my game reviews, with my streamers you should follow, with my live streams, and now I'm doing deals of the week, letting you know of free games, promotions, discounts, all that stuff that's available. Also, let me know what games I should play. If you guys know any free-to-play games or just games in general that you think I might enjoy, go ahead and drop those in the comments as well. As you can see, I have my ears and eyes open, so any suggestions, I literally just will take them. So just go ahead and drop those in the comments. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for appreciating the content. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. And as always, this has been another video on Gaming on a Budget. I'm Rich, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.